Okay,
Very good.
Ersin,
Recording is here.
nice that
My name is Ersin. I've been, I born in Turkey and graduated in Sweden, and have been working a bit in Sweden and a bit international, and then Turkey again. And my main, business, my main business line has been telecoms and media until 2002. At the age of 2046, at 2002, I retired myself for doing something more or less business, more casual. And I, by chance, happened to get introduced to area called wellness. It was a shocking experience. I was 46 years old, and a friend gave me a present that I should go to Koh Samui in Thailand and enjoy a kind of detoxing program. And when I was in this program, I was quite amazed at how little I know about me and life, how much I know which doesn't belong to my life. Whatever surrounding around me. So then I started 2 years of exploring the life, finding out what's the life in reality, why do we not live well, etc. And then after 2 years, I decided to start this company called LifeCo, which has been almost 20 years now in the market. And not almost 20 years in the market. And we have 3 branches, one in Bodrum, one in Antalya in Turkey, one in Phuket. We are soon opening one in Sharm in Egypt, one in St. Lucia Island in Caribbeans. So that's my background. If any questions around my background, I have no medical or any professional background in the area of wellness. I have a lot of experience as a consumer and business owner.
So your decision was primarily to go into wellness due to your own need, or why did you
No,
choose
I
that?
didn't have a decision. I just retired without having any idea what to do. But being in this retreat was a eye-opening event. So I really get very much confused how much or how little we know about how to be present in this life. And that was a kind of shock for me, because I knew how to handshake with the prime ministers, presidents, do budget for several $billion, run companies, etc. All this was easy cake for me, but coming to how to breathe, how to walk, how to think, how to stop thinking was very difficult.
Yeah.
So that was why I get interested, and so more or less entered into the area. So I will give you a quick, presentation to you about what I thought. Wellness should be addressed in a very brief manner, and then we can have questions and answers.
Amazing, yeah. Thanks a lot.
Any questions, Solon? No?
Just a question about your locations and how many people are going there annually, like how many getting the treatment per year, your clinics?
Yeah, normally, our average stay varies from location to location, but we recommend minimum 4 days, average 7 days, maximum as long as you stay. But if you ask what could be the best, we say 21 days is a good number for starting a life change process. And the number of people we treated, it's about, I would say, I don't know really, but around 50,000 people, last 20 years. And nowadays, I would say we have about, I'd say around 5,000 weeks available. So the number of guests per year is about 5,000.
Okay, got it. Yeah,
Ersin, you also had a long track record in cancer, but it was a little bit a difficult environment because the medical system is not so amused.
Yeah, you are right. Our Phuket center was dealing with cancer, but unfortunately, since cancer treatment is very much tied up to chemotherapy and radiotherapy, so immunotherapy and other type of natural approaches are not welcome. So we were getting, like Marcel said, we were getting terminal cases, and we stopped serving them because it's a bit pity. People come with as a last hope, and you can't help them, and you just get the money for nothing. I mean, you give a lot of service, but the result will not be. So the only result we could give, and people appreciate it, it was more or less, they felt better. Family members felt better that they did everything for their father, mother, wife, husband, etc. So that was the only positive outcome. People felt good because they tried everything. So that was about cancer, but now we are out of that area.
But still you could... Yeah,
I just wanted to say, but of course, for the cancer would be like nice if you could get the people before they go into all this chemo and all this stuff.
That's the problem. You can't get it before because at the moment of diagnosis, so people get scared so much, so they are almost taken into chemotherapy treatment, radio treatment in a second. So before you leave the room, they book you for the next visit.
Okay.
So that's a very, very powerful, business lobby or whatever you call it. They are very qualified and very powerful.
Unfortunately.
And there is a lot of money. So like in UK, it's I can't remember now, but one session of chemo is £26,000 or something like that. And then around £8,000 to £10,000 goes to the doctor who administers it or who recommends it. So it's a lot of money game, and it's a very difficult situation for the patients.
Expenses of the health.
I will give a bit of idea around that also later on. Yeah. Okay.
You tell me if I switch the slide there, Ersin, right?
Yeah, if I may start with this slide.
Yeah.
You see, when we come to the world, I mean, in this place where we live, so we have something called optimum health. So everybody, based on DNA, where they have been born, what kind of family conditions they have, etc., they have a level of health given to them as a starting account or starting amount of life, and then we just run our lives in different lifestyles. So we have different choices, and then what happens, like this blue guy, he has been doing quite reasonable choices. So how he was almost 85% functional at the age of 90 also. if you think that about the guy in pink or the lady in pink, so you see that almost at the 50, that lady lost 50% of its life quality or wellness. So the yellow one is almost at the age of 25 lost the 50%. So it's all about, the name of the game, it's called wellness. You just try to bring yourself up to your optimum level. And the reason we loses our well-being is our choices, or the lifestyle just imposed to us do not fit into this picture. Marcel, you can go into the next one, please.
Yeah.
When we talk about this mismatch of the choices, so normally we are supposed to eat food which is from nature and which is, organic, natural food. So what we eat nowadays, products. So products means they are packed, they are processed, they do have shelf time, etc., etc. So normally, to have a shelf time of 2 years or 1 year, 6 months, etc., then you need to change the chemistry of the food because it should survive because of commercial reasons. So that's why first mismatch is we don't have a real food around us. Real food means the food as it is in the nature. So like if you take olive oil is a not real food. Olives are real food. Olive oils are processed. So that's why their food value is less than olives. And also if they are processed, if they are not processed through cold processing, so it also loses a lot of benefits because of heating in the process. So then first mismatch for us is instead of food, we are into an area of products. Second is more vital nowadays, where we have, as a human being, we have two ways of being present. So one way is fight and flight, survival mode. The other one is in peace and rejuvenating yourself. So normally we should have maybe 5, 3, 7 triggers per day. So which could be stressing us. That could be you can't find food, a lion is around, or an enemy around, etc. But when you look today's world, we get almost 100 times more triggers because of social media, news, and mails, WhatsApp, and our thoughts, and whatever it is happening in the world and around ourselves, in our relations, etc. So that ends up with something called chronic stress, which is the biggest disease of today. So today, unfortunately, we have a hidden pandemics. It's called chronic stress. So the third part is the natural living in natural environment and versus living in a man-made environment. So if you are in a room, I see Marcel is in a room, and most likely it's sunset already happened there. So from nature, he switched over to Philips or Siemens as a sun. And also he has some chemical paintings on the wall, and he has a lot of radiation. He has a lot of stuff, like, for example, the dying of the clothes, etc., is chemical also. So our skin addressed by those chemicals. So what does it mean? We should live in a nature like a forest, like open area nature, etc., having good air, water, etc., as our surrounding. But we are now created an environment where we are stuck with a lot of toxic surrounding. And finally, we are supposed to move our body. I mean, if you look to your body circulation systems, you have two of them. One is the blood, which has a pump, which is called heart. The other one is lymphatic system, where there is no pump. So if you don't move, your lymphatic system do not get any circulation, and then you get toxic. And also moving also good for your hormones, bones, muscles, etc. So those mismatches ends up with something. Next, please, Marcel. Now, this ends up with something, deficiency of the minerals, vitamins, or physical deficiencies, and mental deficiencies like security, safety, love, etc., respect. On the toxic side, toxemia side, so what we get besides deficiency, we get a lot of toxic elements through the food, through the air, but also toxic elements through our mental activities like hate, anxiety, depression, and disappointment, etc. And if these are combined with something called chronic stress, then we come to a final, outcome, which is called chronic disease. 93% of the people dying of the chronic diseases, only 7% dies from normal reasons. So this is more or less background of what's happening around us regarding the wellness. Shall I go for any? I mean, do you have any questions, Solon?
No.
No. Very good. So when you look to, when you look, as I said, we have two part of our well-being. One is the physical well-being, where is what we eat, drink, and where we live, etc., has a big saying. But nowadays, last 10, 15 years, thanks to internet, thanks to computerization, etc., we do have a bigger problem, which is the mental resilience or mental disturbances. So the bigger problem stays there, as I explained to you. Maybe you could go one more slide. Let me see what's that. Okay. So this is good. 4 pillars for solution. Go a bit more. This is those two are important for the food. Let me go back one slide. Maybe I give a very quick view about this. So when you talk about food, the best food is water, because when you're born, 92% water. Your body consists of 92% water. And next best food is green, dark leafy vegetables, because they do have highest value of nutrition. Legumes are okay. Whole grains are not okay, but we are addicted. And also fruits are okay, but they are too sweet, so we need to eat less. Seeds and nuts are okay, but they are very powerful. Again, we need to eat less. And indulgence is everything else: meat, fish, anything cooked, cheesecake, risotto, pasta, etc. Indulgence means there is no nutritional value, there is only entertainment value in your food. So that's how the food pyramid is really working, which you will not see in the medical system. So if you go to the next one, this chart shows, I mean, a kind of efficiency per calorie. So if you take the kale, for example, 1,000 per calorie, which means vitamins, minerals, enzymes, amino acids, phytochemicals, etc., in kale is quite a lot per calorie. If you look, as I mentioned a moment ago, olive oil has only 10 because of olive oil is processed, lost a lot of functionalities. Olives may have more, which I can't see here where they are. Anyhow, so you see 100 times more, say, nutritional value, 1 calorie of kale compared with 1 calorie of olive oil. Again, please do understand that this chart do not take into the into consideration the toxicity. Like, this is only the nutritional value we are talking about. If you do, for example, if you talk about cola or pasta, bread, etc., there is a toxicity element also. So nutrition, I mean, food means for us more or less nutrition efficiency, nothing more than that. So, and again, if you have any question, I mean, the very easy solution of the food is, there is a guy called Michael Pollan. He's a former New York Times bestseller, whatever, writer. And then what he says, I mean, he has written books and read a lot of books about our diet. He says, eat less, eat little, mostly plants, and more or less eat as early as possible. So if you look for the food, you should eat very much, a lot of plants and not so much, and eat not too late. So that's so simple. But anyhow, if you have any questions, I can come back to that. Sorry, because this is...
Yeah.
And if you go next, please. This is a bit... this is a nice picture before the other one. Before.
This one, yeah.
This one. Yeah, if you look, I mean, any one of us, any one of you, I mean, being present in this world exactly works like this. So you have in your life triggers, which is thoughts, ideas, what you hear, what you see, what you think about it, etc., etc., what you read. That's called triggers. Triggers, we cannot do anything. Those are out of our control. Then we have something called reference frame. Reference frames are pre-recorded, hardwired processes. So those is hardwired either at the genetic level, but it's very little genetic, maybe 5%, 95% comes from your father, mother, the family, and the neighborhood, the religion, the culture, the education, etc., etc. So it ends up, this reference frame, again, we cannot change it. So it is hardwired. We can change it, say, on the long run, but in any moment, it stays as it is. So what happens when trigger comes, and then it's automatically processed by the reference frame, and it's converted to a signal to the body, which is called hormones or emotions. So when hormones and emotions are released, so you may have a chance to interfere your behavioral process. if you can feel the change, you can maybe take a decision to act. Act means you just integrate to the moment with all the data and then make a decision which you feel comfortable with. If you can't feel the changes in your body, in hormones and emotions, then you will be react. The reaction means more or less autopilot thoughts, autopilot behaviors. So this is action is the mindful living, the best way of living. Reaction is the painful of living, not mindful, but painful living. So this is really biggest problem of today. When we are, say, into our daily lives, this picture is more or less everything for our happiness, more or less. You can go on, Marcel.
Ersin,
The
I have
time
a
is.
question here. What's the physical reaction of this if people always react instead of act? Is it that the body becomes more sour, more acid, and which is again also the breeding ground for diseases, or do you have any data there?
Yeah. I mean, in Buddhism, they call it sankhara, which means you accumulate of tension. Because when you are reacting, it's not a healthy decision. It's a kind of response, autopilot response to something which you not thought over or considered. It's just programmed. I mean, I can give you an example how difficult it is. Like we had a mindful living session or retreat in our Bodrum Center. We had a lady about 65, 70 years old, and she was looking for approval. And when she was in a room drinking water, she was looking everybody. If they don't react, then she could drink. If somebody is not looking comfortable, she will not drink. I asked her, why do you do this? She said, how do you realize? I said, I can see it. It's very simple that you are looking for approval for doing anything, even drinking water. She said, I had a authoritarian father, and we couldn't do anything at home without getting his blessing. So more or less, what happened? She was carrying 5 years old reference frame into the age of 65 and 80. So that's always, it means for her, she needs to be on some kind of alert all the time, which is stress. So she needs to be in stress, or she's in stress to survive the moment. And that's really very painful. A lot of cancer, a lot of emotional eating, a lot of drug use, etc., comes, like you pointed out, from reaction. That's a long term. I mean, you can say very simple like this. You have Windows 1984, and you are running that in a machine of 2024. So
I mean, it makes total sense.
Yeah. So we are into 2024. At the age of 50 or 40, but still running our operating system of the age of 4 or 5. So that's the biggest.
And all the childhood traumas are kind of indirectly reflecting, of course, also in our food and physical habits, of course.
Yeah. Anyhow, these are the. I think it's a main part of what I would say. My presentation, but this one could be good because Pia had a question. Can you go to the next one and come back?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you look a person, he's on 100% healthy. So we, because of lifestyle, we build up the disease. And in the medical system, disease means symptom and symptom management. So, for example, if you have diabetes, you have high blood pressure, and the medical system recognize it, that's called diagnosis. And then they try to give you medicine to control your, say, blood sugar level. But you are not healed. If you stop taking the pills, you will be still having high blood pressure. So that's why the real healing, a job of yourself. So that's full healing is a job ourselves. So if you go back, yes, you did. So, okay, how can we put a pyramid around this also? So, medical system tries to manage this symptoms with drugs and surgery, but that's not real healing. The real healing is diet, including the cleaning your body, mindset, including the intention of healing and managing your stress, natural therapies like, for example, interesting, powerful treatments, IVs, etc., high dose vitamin C, ozone, and other type of therapies. And you need a healing environment. If you don't have a healing environment, you can't heal. So you need to heal. And healing means more or less you have supportive environment for healing. Just let me finish before questions with a small experience I had. I had a friend who was a lady who was risk manager in a bank, and she had a breast cancer. And we said, if you don't stop doing your job, you will not heal, because you wake up, South African rand is up, and Hong Kong Stock Exchange is down, and Fed is that, and that happened here, that happened there. Prime Minister said that. So you are into never-ending threats or triggers, which ends up with continuous stress, chronic stress. And chronic stress ends up with, unfortunately, stops all kind of healing. So if you are sick and you want to do a healing process, the first thing you need to address, definitely have your stress addressed to manage to as little as possible, mainly in peace, mainly in being in safe, secure, and no real threats around you. You just focus on your healing with healing intention. So I think it's good enough for opening presentation. Let's have some discussion around the things. You can close these things, and we can have a discussion or question and answer round.
We know each other since 6 years, and we spoke so often about this topic. For me, it's always, you have seen a lot of people, and do you think it's possible? For me, healing has always not happened in my close surroundings because people didn't prioritize it. Because I always say, if you really want to get healed, you have to prioritize. As it just said, this woman should quit her job, maybe for a moment, and focus on the cancer. Because I don't believe you can fight cancer as a part-time or as a hobby if you really want to get it away. What's your thought there?
Yeah, you just put a very good sentence around that. You can't do part-time. Cancer is, or any disease or any lifestyle change is surrender and full-hearted, holistic say, approach holistic change. So you can't negotiate with your health. You can't just say, okay, let me take this vacation, or let me be more rich and take this business up to this level and then address my cancer. You can't. You need to stop everything. You need to address your problem. I think, I don't know really, but you know, on the other hand, I can very shortly give you a kind of my view on these issues. You know, life is about invading people's perception. So if you talk about advertisements, if you talk about, say, a number of other things like business, like marketing activities, money, transaction, parties, votes, etc., etc., everything is about stealing your perception and filling in with some material which locks you into some kind of benefit somebody else has. So you are a kind of lost soul in this society. So that's, like you said, you need to be your own boss. So you need to be aware. You need to be mindful. So nobody can take you to here and there. So take anything, for example, like when you talk about awareness, you have, for example, in West world, about 1% who is fully aware. Maybe 9% is somehow aware. Maybe 60-70% is not at all aware. And maybe 20-30% has no ways and means to be aware. They are just trying to survive their life. I mean, they earn $1 or $2 a day, and you don't have time to be anxious, depressed, or not aware, etc., because you need to be in life today and maybe tomorrow also, hopefully. So, you know, when you look, I mean, as you said, when you look around us, so we have very little fellow friends who developed a continuous awareness so they can see the small games happening around us for consumption, for voting, for whatever, I mean, for power brokerage. So it could be several back doors for their reasons. But, you know, I was a mobile guy, for example. I was explaining people mobile telephony is not blah, blah, not dangerous, etc., etc. And I was giving scientific articles that whatever radiation is almost equal to the shaving machine and or hair dryer. And now I stopped being such a person. I become a say a wellness person. So I do not carry my phone. I never have the sound on. I just try to protect myself from the phone as a trigger and phone as a radiation instrument. So, you know, life is like that. So when you serve a location or a startup or a company, then you just take that hat of the company. But in reality, your best or your wellness may be far away. So that's why, for example, we started some kind of Zen professional or a kind of mindfulness program for professionals, because we realized that 85% of professionals are mentally stuck. So their efficiency at the work is down to 35% or something like that. So that's why, you know, it's like you say, it's awareness is a lot important, but it's not easy.
Mm. We have question maybe from Marek or Simon. Simon, I've seen you unmuted before.
Well, I just wanted to comment and thank you for this inspirational autobiographical description of your story. It's very inspiring, definitely, and about 50,000 people who already have received help. That's a big number, and I'm sure it's a matter of you know, months, maybe even, when people are waking up to this consciousness more and more. Like I feel we are at the moment in the middle of a very, very deep transitional period, and taking care of our health and treating the way we should treat our cancer. Definitely should be the way how you explain it. So yeah.
Thank you.
Simon, question?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. I just spoke with Tolga Atalay yesterday. So it's funny that I meet you already today, because we spoke about you. Thank you very much for your insights and also for sharing the book. I really appreciated that. You know,
Send your book, Ersin, before.
Yes.
Very good.
The question I have, I mean, staying here in Switzerland, I have also a client, you know, for whom I'm, let's say, working out a strategic concept about building up a holistic health center or a competence center. And, you know, my client, he faces the problem, for example, just by creating an app that he needs to fly it under the radar. You know, I mean, putting all health parameters of people into that app, you know, providing treatments, providing, let's say, making suggestions, etc. You face the risk or the difficulty, let's say, from a legal point of view, because, let's say, being only a wellness or a holistic vitality center, you are not, you know, allowed to interfere with the, let's say, health system, with the official health system. How do you let's say, see that you know, trouble or issue? How could you face that in your 20 years of business?
Yeah, I mean, we see it as a positive thing, because, you know, we are I mean, we can qualify ourselves as a lifestyle, as a medicine. So we need to put the words in a proper manner, because, like you said, industries, any industry, like health industry or whatever industry is it, banking, financial, or lawyers, doctors. So everybody's trying to protect their own interest area. So we should never try to enter into the area of curing this and that, etc., because regulations are very tough. But when you are into the lifestyle as a medicine, when you are into a diet, when you are into some kind of say, long-term casual change management, like, for example, we are nowadays developing mental wellness programs. So we don't call them therapies. We don't call them treatments. We call them more or less, say, lifestyle change programs for addressing stress or woman health or whatever it is for professional life-work balance, etc. So then you are better. And also customers appreciate it better also, because they don't want to go into a hospital and more or less seen as a number or name, or and then treated with something without getting full information, etc. So that's a kind of, I would say, of course, there is limitations, like Google don't allow you to advertise cancer or diabetes or healing, etc. Governments stop you doing this and that. But on the other hand, seeing yourself as a casual lifestyle, as a medicine lifestyle change center, etc., it works much better, I would say, because there are so many people. Like, for example, if you take even very developed countries, I can't remember now, but it was, which year was it? But I was in Helsinki, and they did a kind of survey over 450,000 people for diabetes and insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Almost, I would say, 70% of the people had these problems, was not diagnosed. So, what I mean is you have the problem, but nobody knows that you have the problem. Either you don't come to the symptom, or you didn't measure after you had the symptom. So that's why there is a lot of room for wellness, keeping people away from the diseases, or getting, like we say, if you are getting operated, make sure that you have some kind of ready to be operated, and also make sure that you have a program to recover fully. So that's why there is a great space for wellness, because the medical system really do not work for health. It only works for the ministry and the companies. Unfortunately, like, we are getting into psychologists, doctors, dietitian, and we need to re-educate them.
I think a nice term. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to re-educate. Otherwise, what they learn cannot be used.
But do you see the doctors are also more open-minded now, or they still want to serve like their old matrix clients?
I would say not because of awareness, because of the industry is really burning out.
Right.
Doctors getting really more aware, thanks to medical system is killing them.
Yeah.
So it's long shifts, and they are like machine operators.
Yeah.
I mean, hospitals are factories, and they are the machine operators, more or less.
Maybe it's not even a hospitals, but it's all the education system, because this is this cognitive dissonance what comes in. If you have learned 15 years something in a little business, and you know only a little bit of some disease inside a human, and you have learned so long time all this, then you can't see the different picture anymore, and this is what the cognitive dissonance is doing with you.
True.
I feel the key word here is like disease prevention, because I'm aware that all of us will go in our lifetime through one cancer, and so it's almost becoming like basic education, that you know what to do when you face a cancer, and usually you don't have time then to get all the knowledge, because the doctors tell you have 6 months disposal date. I know two persons who actually passed away after 6 months because the doctor told them they have to go in 6 months, which is for me fascinating. Ersin, maybe to conclude also, you have a lot of, it's very interesting always to talk to you and to listen to your concepts. You have a lot of those health protocols or simple things around food and also fasting, because I believe health or disease prevention for most of us would be very simple if we are in some areas a little bit more aware. Or and I say the most powerful tool we have is our body, and if we go into a fast, it has a huge impact on our body. I mean, you can be very blind on the mindful level, but if you fast the first 72 hours, you definitely feel the change. So I know that you, for example, you do 1 day of fasting, so you get 52 days a week, because for many of us it's not possible to do several times a year, several weeks fasting. What's your giveaway for like a fast track?
I mean, you should first of all, I mean, what I do, I separate my nutritional intake from my meals. So, for example, I eat my food in the form of supplements or in the form of natural superfoods, etc. The food I eat once a day, that's entertainment and social activity. So I suggest everybody they should have a kind of intermittent fasting, which will be the best way of keeping us healthy. And when you do intermittent fasting, you can do it depending on your, say, your discipline or your, strong will. So, for example, I do 12 to 6 eating period, 6 afternoon to 12 noon. I do fasting, just liquid. So no
So you
digestion.
eat 6 hours and you fast 18 hours.
Yeah, that's called 18-6 type of intermittent fasting. You can do 12 hours, 16 hours, etc. But 18 hours are perfect. So I stop. I mean, I start eating 12 o'clock superfoods, etc. I stop with a social meal at home, 6 o'clock. That's the best medicine. That's the best anti-aging. So for lifetime, of course, you can abuse your body or your diet from time to time. There's no problem with that. And if you continue, for example, what you can do, of course, you can you need to move your body, and trampoline is the best way of moving your body. And maybe you can use trampoline with a bit of weight in the hands and on the legs, etc. But trampoline is the best training, because normal treadmill, etc., walking, that's only only exercises, say 20 plus muscles. If you are jumping on a trampoline, you are up to 400 muscles. Almost all of your muscles are working. So that's why I would recommend that. And you should meditate as much as possible. If you can't meditate, listen music and do other things like looking on the fire, or using say apps for meditation. I use, for example, an app called 35 binaural programs, where they give you on the straight into the ears a kind of frequency, where the frequency is our brain is vibrating on 2 hertz, when we are in coma 4 hertz, in deep sleep 7, when we are creative mode 14 hertz, when we are logical and problem solving 21, when we are mad. So what these guys did, they are just giving in the tunes into your ears, like for example 7 hertz for meditative presence, 4 hertz to down to the dreaming type of deep sleep type of meditation. So that's quite I mean, you get assisted by those apps, rather than if you cannot do your own meditative moments. Mindfulness is important to train, like for example, observe your own thoughts. That will give you a lot of help. When you follow your thoughts, you will see, because you know the whole world works like this. You have an incident and you have a thought about incident, and it goes into an emotion and hormone physically, and then it becomes a behavior. So if incident, then autopilot thoughts are coming. If you can follow your thoughts, you can create alternative thoughts and alternative ways of responding to the incident. So that's called mindful living. That's called the best way of, I mean, radical acceptance and living with a kind of, balanced, we call it wise mind. Wise mind is the balanced mind where you use the emotions and logic at the same time in a right proportion. If logic is too much, no respect for the emotions, we are in problem. If emotions are too much, no respect to the logic, we are deeper problem. So, you know, that's the balance is very important. So that's how I optimize. I mean, life is very simple. It's optimization, nothing else. You optimize every moment. You optimize your day. You optimize your relation. You optimize your food intake, and optimization is giving the result, the quality of life you have in your pockets or in your home.
Yeah, that's a good point, this optimization. And maybe the last question, because that's also the point of AKASHA, and we are gladly, of course, getting your inputs, what we are building with AKASHA, because you said, or in the slides was shown that one of the 4 key pillars beside of mindful and nutrition is a healing environment. And what would you say are some simple hacks for a healing environment at home that you can really recover from? You already said mobile phone, maybe offline, I always have. What would you say is a healing environment?
And the best healing environment is pets, dogs, children, and also I would say, yeah, you see, here is a nice one.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot. This is a real healer.
Yes. I have English short hair cat also.
Very nice.
Yes.
So, you know, it's you need to create an environment. So you need to take away toxicity. You need to take away anxiety. You need to take away people around you who makes you depressed. Like, for example, we recommend people having cancer, don't tell your friends. Don't tell anybody. Just tell them you have very whatever bullshit disease you have. Because when they start to tell you, oh my God, why I mean, you have been so careful here and there. So what they are doing, they are loading a kind of, say, lose of hope. More or less, you become dead because of their encouragement of that you are sick and you are going to die. And
That was
that's
my biggest point. That was my biggest challenge in my healing journey, was the people around me, not the doctors, the chemicals, nothing else. It was really the people around you, as you said, because everybody thinks you're crazy if you go maybe alternative way, and they're so scared that you're gonna pass over immediately because you're not doing what the system would maybe require. Everybody turns into a doctor around you.
So living with a bit of adventure, not as good as dying in the safe hands.
Yeah.
So that's life, you know. That's why I would say, and I would say, for example, one of the best treatments is looking to the comedy films. So
I watch
just
I watch the election at the moment. For me, I love it. I must say, I love it. The whole
you have different type of understanding of comics and comedies, etc. So that's fully doable for you to watch the Trump and enjoy yourself.
It's really we should I think we should it's kind of new satire genre, is like a new satire.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. We wrap it up. I mean, our deep gratitude also for the people who watched the recording. I will write a little summary. Everybody got the book from you, Optimal Living or Mindful Living. And I will also, of course, mention the LifeCo website or the healing center. So, and I'm sure we do some retreat in the future. We need to talk, Ersin.
Yes.
Every year we should do something.
We should do. Tolga is preparing a retreat for conscious or integrated holistic leadership.
Wow.
We can do in May something. We will talk.
Yes.
I come and visit you in November.
You can bring all those friends from Iceland.
Yeah.
There is a big number of people. They just talk, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Very good.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Marcel. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Marky.
We see you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pia. Thank you, Tolga.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Görüşürüz.
Bye bye.
Teşekkürler.